Lesson 4, Strengths and Flow. In 1975, a Hungarian-American psychologist called Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi outlined in scientific terms a state of beings that humans have experienced for thousands of years, that of flow, or what is sometimes also known as being in the zone. Flow can be defined as a psychological experience where one is performing an activity and is fully immersed in an energized focus. It is often found in professions where a high level of skill needs to be directed at a particular task, such as in the case of athletes, musicians, and even brain surgeons. And it is characterized by full absorption in what one is doing at the moment, which is probably just as well in the case of brain surgery. According to flow theory, flow contributes to people's well-being and personal fulfillment. In line with this, research with adolescents has shown that increased flow experiences are also associated with increased intrinsic motivation, higher self-esteem, and more time spent doing schoolwork. And while flow can have a dark side, such as time spent lost in gambling or other obsessive activities, flow is generally seen as a positive state for a human being to be in. This is because there are both external as well as internal benefits. Externally, flow contributes to us developing efficacy as human beings. For example, when we're in love. James Graham, a professor of psychology at Western University, points out, when we are engaged in a new romantic relationship, our tendency to find flow increases. This then allows us to refine certain skills or develop new ones. So, when couples find each other and become a unit, they instinctively attempt to improve themselves. This, in return, provides an advantageous environment for any children they might have. Finding moments of flow also allows humans to specialize. Clearly, we need to use our time and energy wisely, and so once we have discovered something that we are naturally good at, as in using our signature strengths, then it is an efficient behavior to harness that signature strength to improve that particular skill. Internally, experiencing flow acts as a reward system. Related to the earlier example of newly formed couples, learning new things helps partners expand their sense of who they are and what they're capable of. When a couple engages in these activities together, each partner's feelings of flow and self-expansion becomes associated with the other partner, so that they grow together and grow closer as a result. Being in a state of flow works particularly strongly on the individual level, however. The feeling of being lost in a paradoxically intense but also gentle concentration acts as a pathway that links with Seligman's PERMA model that we saw in Lesson 3, especially regarding engagement. In this case, a healthy cycle develops. In this slide, we can see how using signature strengths results in an ability, which creates a feeling of flow. Then performing in a state of flow increases both results and rewards, which satisfies the human desire for engagement as well as self-sufficiency. So what does flow look like in action? The characteristics of flow are that there is intense, focused concentration on the present moment and a loss of relative self-consciousness. There is a sense of deep focus and effortless involvement in the details of the task that makes other needs negligible. The experience that action and awareness emerge together. The activity is intrinsically rewarding. And there is immediate feedback on the progress as the participant engages in the activity, as well as a real belief in the potential for success. In addition, goals are clear, there is no concern about the judgment of others, there is a sense of personal control or agency in the activity, and finally, there is a sense of distortion of time. People often report that time seems to slow down or pass quickly, and in some cases, people feel that it is both. If we look at the list above, it becomes apparent how efficient being in a state of flow is. For example, effortless involvement that makes other needs negligible, and there being no concern about the judgment of others. This allows all of our energy to be directed at the task that needs to be completed. Clearly, this is a highly beneficial strategy for humans to use. However, looking more closely at those two effects, there is some room for caution. For instance, makes other needs negligible means that people caught in a state of flow sometimes even forget to eat, or there being no concern about the judgment of others sometimes means that people lose their perspective. On the whole, nevertheless, modern life tends to result rather in us being distracted and not being able to concentrate than becoming too focused. So, in the vast majority of cases, it's best to go with your flow. Highly successful people are often described as working in various states of flow. A quote from Claude Picasso, Pablo Picasso's son, seems to me to describe how the great artist was able to utilize his signature strengths, achieve a state of flow, and still maintain a healthy work-life balance. He says, "I remember so well my father's complete concentration when he went to the studio. Everything he did, every movement he made, he did with complete concentration. Then, after he had finished work, he would go to the beach or whatever, and then he would enjoy, play, and forget about his work." Sounds great to me. In the remainder of this lesson, there are 3 activities: reading an article, participating in a guided recollection, and finally, watching a short video. These are all aimed at helping you recognize moments of flow in your life and seeing how you might apply them. After that, in Lesson 5 of Strengths and How to Use Them, we will move away from the idea of signature strengths in the individual and on to how spotting strength in others can help us develop better relationships.